Have you ever wondered what it's actually like in one of the most expensive places in the world?
We couldn't feel more out of place if we tried.
Monaco is the second smallest country on the planet behind only Vatican City, and it's full of millions.
I've never seen so many expensive cars in my life.
With a total area of only 2.1 kilometres squared, Monaco is also the smallest country on Earth with a coastline. It might be tiny, but there are a lot of people packed in here, more than 38,000 in fact, which also makes it one of the most densely populated countries. Of those 38,000 people, 1 in 3 are millionaires.
Looking at all the yachts, one of which has actually got a helicopter on it.
With all that in mind, doesn't it all feel a little bit strange?
It's a very exclusive place, Monaco.
The short answer is yes, it is extremely, well, bizarre. But don't worry, despite all the glitz and glamour, you can still enjoy it if you're just an average Joe like us. And it's obviously quite fascinating to see a ridiculous level of wealth like this up close and personal. The unique nature of Monaco makes it a must-see place.
So we're now on the train to go to Monte Carlo and Monaco, which is a country all of its own. And we're on the most air-conned train you can imagine after a proper sweaty walk down here. We're running a little bit late. So we're really looking forward to go and check out what Monaco has to offer with all the hype about the rich and famous living there. Money Town. Woohoo! Made it to Monte Carlo in Monaco. First impressions of this place are what you'd very much expect. Very, very rich, very expensive, very fancy, over the top kind of vibe. We're just standing outside the famous Monte Carlo casino, obviously featured in the James Bond movie. But yeah, it's a very exclusive place, Monaco. We were just saying on the way in here, it's the only railway station on the line which is completely blocked off, and inside you can't see into the city until you get out of the very long walk through the train station. And also it's one of those that when you drive past it, it's the other side of a massive mountain. So the only way to see Monaco is to come here yourself and see it firsthand. And it's very fancy, very posh. We're not going to go in any of the shops. We would not be able to afford a single thing here, I don't think. So we're going to have a look around and visit Monaco on a budget. It's actually quite hilarious being here. Like, we couldn't feel more out of place if we tried. We do everything on a budget as cheap as possible, and then you come to a place like this and we've got Bentleys, Rolls Royce, Ferraris parked up outside, absolutely ridiculous amounts of expensive cars. Christ knows who's driving these, but we are outside Monte Carlo Casino, which is obviously quite a cool thing to experience. Any sort of British film fan will know full well about James Bond. So Monte Carlo Casino, pretty awesome. You can just hear all the cars revving as well. It shows how rich and expensive this place is. Absolutely crazy. These cars driving past, it's just ridiculous. I've never seen so many expensive cars in my life. People waiting around outside, probably looking like they're waiting to meet someone famous or something.
While strolling around, we soaked in the elegant malls, impressive architecture, and just generally got a feel for the atmosphere in the country. It still feels weird saying that given how small it is. We also looked on enviously at those enjoying the lavish hotels and swimming pools that overlook the harbour, just imagining what could be if we ever landed the Euro Millions jackpot. But once we'd stopped fantasising, we then took the challenging steep walk to the most popular panoramic viewpoint of Monaco and to explore the Old Town which lies on top of the hill.
Pretty impressive view. The only thing we would say is it's not for the faint-hearted to get up here. You have to get up quite a steep staircase and slopes, so you definitely earn the view from the top. The harbour looks absolutely amazing. Port Hercule. The view up here is incredible. So we're just soaking it in and enjoying it. And just round the corner is the main palace on the top of the hill here, where there seems to be quite a luxury event going on with loads of very expensive cars. So yeah, just enjoying the view up here.
You can really feel the authentic atmosphere of Monaco's colourful Old Town when you wander around. There are plenty of cute shops and restaurants tucked inside the nooks and crannies.
Did you know this was here?
No idea. Happy coincidence.
If you're looking for a quiet, peaceful getaway in Monaco, this really is it. It's very beautiful and quaint, which is an almost ironic contrast to what lies in the streets below, but it still feels very rich. I mean, just look at the post office, even that is quite an extravagant building. And the impressive Prince's Palace, which you can see here, was first built in the 13th century and later remodelled during the Renaissance period throughout the 15 and 1600s. We then took an enjoyable walk back down to the harbour, which I can tell you was considerably easier than the walk up. The route also takes you past the old walls of the medieval fortress, so there's a lot of history to enjoy and take in.
And it was very nice taking a walk up to the top to see the view over the city and the country technically. But yeah, there's some really beautiful, colourful buildings in the old town. And we also enjoyed exploring the narrow streets up by the palace as well. So sort of getting up to the viewpoint at the top of Monaco is definitely probably our favourite thing that we've done here. Being down in the centre of Monte Carlo, sort of with the casinos and the shops, is very impressive to see. But I mean, it's obviously a very exclusive set of people that can enjoy that kind of thing. And we were just saying, in terms of it being one of our favourite places, probably not. It is beautiful. There's some really beautiful buildings and beautiful streets, but it's one of those places that unless you've got money, a lot of money, probably not a great deal you can do here other than look around and enjoy it. And before we came here, a lot of reading I was doing was about sort of how you can spend a day in Monaco and pretty much see everything it is to see. And it's true, it's not very big at all. And like I said, unless you've got loads and loads of money, you're not going to be able to do much here except wander around and take a few pictures and videos like we're doing. But still, very cool to come here and say you've been here. And we have really enjoyed it, so don't let that put you off at all. It's definitely worth coming to see, but unless you're a millionaire, don't get your hopes up about what you're going to buy.
After all of that walking, our next stop was at a bar called Restaurant Jack for some food and drinks. It was a really nice spot next to the port and had some very cool, quirky furniture, so it was a nice vibe to kick back and relax for a little bit. We were slightly worried about how much it was going to cost, but we were pleasantly surprised.
So, with everything we said about not being much to do here if you don't have money, we did find a really reasonable bar to just have some beers and a cocktail.
It was cheaper than Menton.
Cheaper than Menton, yeah. And some food as well, some good tapas, some pizza, some really nice sweet potatoes. And it came to a fairly reasonable price. And now we're just walking along Port Hercule, or Hercule, however it's said, looking at all the yachts, one of which has actually got a helicopter on it, which is quite funny. And it does look it's quite cool when it's all lit up around here, so yeah, good vibe down here at night time. We're starting to kind of enjoy it a little bit, so yeah, really nice. Lots of expensive cars still driving around, but the yachts look pretty impressive to say the least. Wow, well, we're just checking out some of the yachts down here. It's absolutely mesmerising. We can't get over it, to be honest. It doesn't look real. Like, wow, some of the money that must be plunged into the people that own these boats. They are absolutely magnificent, absolutely incredible. Just like yacht after yacht lined up here in the harbour, in the port, and they look so expensive. So expensive. Like multi-millionaires that must own this stuff. They look in pristine condition as well, don't they? Like there's not a blemish on these boats. These are like sailing around the world on the ocean, and there's not a single scratch on them. It's mad.